Do I have enough to spend is always the question, and the answer is always going to be no, you're never going to have enough. But are you spending it the best way that you can is probably the key question. So we can go to science and we can say, what are you measuring ROMI, return on marketing investment? And ROMI in itself is a whole field of investigation that you can go to the professors and have a look at how you measure return on marketing investment. And you can put a whole lot of key metrics in. Most businesses don't even have those metrics, and jumble them all together and spit out a return on investment. Or you can just simply start to be conscious in your team about saying, for this spend, what return do I expect to get? And just start putting numbers in your marketing reports, which is just something that most marketing departments don't even have. So the other traditional ways of tracking, other than sexy ROMI models, are brand trackers and sales. Obviously sales in e-commerce, it's easy to look at return on investment with a hat on in terms of sales, actual tracking digital sales, and campaign return on investment metrics. It's a little more difficult when you have a look at your holistic marketing spend. So I always get the question on how much should we be spending, and so there are guides and ratios and benchmarks, but the last time I was asked when I joined Hollard, I decided to, instead of whipping out my magical percentage, which I'll tell you about in a second, I decided to do a bit of research. So I went to the Oracle, which is Twitter, and I asked my marketing friends, what are you using as benchmarks? And some people who are high up in academic institutions and at big consulting firms all went, oh, that's the magical question, don't know, let us know when you find out. So I went and consulted my usual research sources and came out back to my magical number, which is approximately 6% of turnover. But it also depends on what you include in marketing and at what life stage you are as an organization. If you're in a maintenance phase, around about 6% of turnover, depending on what you include in marketing, we'll talk about that in a sec, is about right. But if you're in a brand build phase, or you're in a launch of a new brand, then you need to spend more. Then you need to spend like between 12 and 20%. That's enough to make any CFO or CEO have a panic attack. And to tell you the truth, I have never even had 6%. You got to make do with less. So let's talk about what's in it and what's not in it. What's in that 6%? Do you count people in or not in? Do you count corporate affairs in? Do you count CSI in? Do you count e-commerce? What about call center costs, inbound and outbound call center costs? Because marketing can be quite a loose term. So the first thing you have to do is you have to decide what you're calling marketing and then be consistent about that, so that you can year on year make sure that you're consistent about tracking that as a percentage of your turnover, because it will be different for every organization. And the only thing that you can do is compare yourself to yourself, because you'll never be able to tell what other people are doing inside or outside of their organizations. They don't tell you on their annual reports. It's never going to be transparent. But that 6% is a good guide, and I found it to be quite useful in terms of tracking. At the end of the day, how do you know if it's enough? You know if it's enough if there's talkability, that beautiful thing called WOM, word of mouth. Are people talking about your brand? Is your social media presence going up? Are people buying your product? Are your sales figures increasing? Are your internal audiences, most importantly, your staff, loving you more than ever? Are they recommending you? Are people purchasing and recommending your brand more than ever? And are your brand trackers showing that your performance of your advertising is increasing? And I think there are multiple sources that are going to tell you that your marketing is or isn't working, and you can't rely on only one. So you have to be whole, and you have to be inclusive, and you have to put the science and the art together, and then you'll know. And your gut, trust your gut.